All right, everybody, what's cracking? Welcome back to the channel. New video. People are asking why you do that. I don't know. I like it. Today's video. The other day, I told a story about an angel I believe I met on a flight I took out of state, and I talked about how I believe I've met three angels. I believe I've probably met more than that. I think everyone has met them, but these three incidents stood out to me, and all of them occurred since I've been out. And excuse me. And people asked me, "Hey, can you tell us the story about that?" And I thought about it. Of course I would, but I was thinking about it, and I was like, you know what? How interesting is that, right? Where for the vast majority of my life, I did the devil's work. So I know that I've met a lot of demons in my life. And there was a point in time where I was one as well, right? And, luckily, I figured out how to be a man on my own 2 feet, how to be a better person. And I found my value, figured out how valuable I am as an individual. And that allowed me to understand how valuable you are and everybody else is. And so we're going to get into it. Let's get into these angel interactions that I believe I had. So when I was originally paroled, I was banned from Santa Barbara County for the first 6 months, and I couldn't come back to live. And when I wanted to go on passes to go see my family, I was actually restricted from certain areas of Santa Barbara County. Even within the city of Santa Barbara, there were certain places that I was restricted from entering, or else I could be violated because my victims, as well as I'm pretty sure the vatos that told on me are probably on my victims list somehow. But there was a lot of people very concerned about me being on the streets. And so I had a lot of restrictions, right? So I paroled to San Diego, my second home. I love San Diego. Shout out to everybody out there in SD. So I paroled out there. And while I was out there, those of you that have been with me for a long time know I got into a CNC apprenticeship. CNC apprenticeship. It was an 18-month apprenticeship. And one day they said, "Hey, we're going to take you guys to the Haas factory out in Oxnard." And we were going to go to the tour that they do at the shop every year. I guess they have an annual tour. And it was the first time that I think it was the first time where I was going to be close to home. And so we went to Oxnard, Chica. Shout out to Chica. Shout out to everybody out there in Oxnard. And we're walking around, and it was a party. It was different groups, and we were with our group, and there was probably about at least 10 people in our group, minimum 10, 15 people, right? And so we're walking around and just out of nowhere, just like, boom, he was there. He was just standing next to me. He was an older white dude. And he wouldn't stop smiling. And he kept talking to me. And he was like, "Hey, what is this place?" And that was the first thing that caught me off guard. I was like, how do you randomly just show up? Like, how do you just land at the Haas factory? Like, he wasn't eating yet, nothing. He was just there. Like, I didn't see him anywhere, but boom, he's next to me. He's like, with a huge smile, and he's like, "Hey, what is this place?" I said, "It's the Haas factory." He's like, "Well, what do they do here?" And he was just engaging me in conversation, right? And I kept wondering, like, where the hell did this cat come from? I didn't know. But as quickly as he was there, he wasn't there. And I remember tripping, like looking around, like, "Hey, where'd this cat go?" We talked for about a good 5-10 minutes. He was around me, and then and we were in an area where we were doing the tour. So it's not like he could go back. You have to go forward. And he was in our group. I'm just telling you right now, it was just one of those things where I engaged with this dude, and I just noticed how happy he was to be there at that moment, having that conversation. He had it's weird. but he was smiling a lot, and he had a little like his eyes, I don't know, they were like excited. It was weird. And I remember one of the staff, one of the guys that runs the shop at our apprenticeship, Darren, he asked me, he goes, "Hey, who was that guy?" I said, "I don't know." He goes, "Where the hell did he come from and where did he go?" I said, "I have no idea." And I told him, "You know what, man?" I said, "I think that was an angel." And he's like, "I don't know if he was or not." He said, "But he just popped up and then he just disappeared." Like, so that was the first one. It's nothing major, right? But it's a righteous interaction that I had with someone who I believe that was my first encounter with an angel upon being released from prison, right? And I think that was just, I don't know, God's way of saying, "Hey, I'm with you." I don't know, but it was a trip, man. And then another time, it was when, if you guys, those of you that live in SD, especially if you live in El Cajon, if you remember when the Sears was shutting down in El Cajon, I was still in my CNC apprenticeship. I believe I was still there. I may have already graduated. I don't remember. But I was with one of the homies, good friend of mine, ex-lifer, served 29 years for double homicide. And we were like, "Hey, let's go to Sears." I think it was Sears or JCPenney's, whatever it was right there. You guys know, those of you in the area. But we're like, let's see what kind of jewelry they have over there. So we bounce over there. And me, look, got my bottle of water right here. Everywhere I go, I always have water on me, even in the joint. Vatos used to laugh, right? I used to have a water bottle, not a water bottle. I used to have my tumbler with the lid on it, with water in it, in my back pocket, and in both pockets, in the front pockets, I would have 2 packs of peanut butter in each pocket. And Vatos used to laugh, "Hey, why you do that?" I said, "You see." And then boom, when the yard would go down, there's a pegada or whatever it is, and you're out there for an hour, hour and a half in that sun baking, and they're hungry. I'm sipping my ice water, eating my peanut butter. Oh, you vatos are hungry and thirsty, huh? You're bad. So, anyways, we were at that mall or whatever you want to call it, and we're coming out. As we were coming out, there was a elderly. I don't want to say elderly, but there was an older woman, a Mexican woman, and you could tell that she was extremely tired, and I don't know, it just seemed like maybe her feet were hurting. And I'm walking out and I have my water bottle in my hand. And the homie's on my side and we're walking. And you know, like I tell you guys, everywhere I go, I'm aware of everything around me. Right. So I noticed her and I remember saying to myself, "Damn, she looks like she's in some pain or she's tired or something," right? And she says, "Excuse me, can I have that water?" And I was like, "What?" And it wasn't this empty, but it was probably to right here, right? You know, or maybe where somewhere right there. And I said, "Excuse me?" And she goes, "Can I have that water bottle?" I said, "Well, I already drank out of it. Can I buy you something to drink?" And she said, "No." She said, "I'm very, very thirsty right now. I've been walking for a long time, and I just want to sit down and rest my feet and drink some water." And I said, "Yeah, but the soda machine's right there. I can buy you a soda or I can buy you some water out of it. Let me just walk over here." And she says, "No, it's okay. If you don't mind, can I just have the water that you're drinking?" So I said, "Yeah." And I handed her the water bottle. I turned around and immediately hot stepped it straight to the machine because I wanted to give her something cold to drink because I could see she really needed it. And keep in mind, when she was walking towards us, you could tell it was hard for her to walk. She was walking very slow and she sat down right there. I walked maybe 50 feet. I bought 2 sodas. The homie's walking with me the whole time. Boom, we're at the machine. And I was telling him, like, "Wait, that was weird, right?" I grabbed the 2 sodas. I turned around and looked and the lady was gone. I'm talking about maybe a minute went by. Maybe. I don't even think that much time. The lady was completely gone. So I was like, what the fuck? And the homie goes, hey, Holmes, this is a trip. So we, fast walked in thinking maybe she went around the building. She wasn't on the street, up or down the street. We went inside. She wasn't walking around there. We came back outside, and the homie said, I think that was an angel, homie. I said, so do I. I don't know what the test was with the water, but everyone should keep in mind, man, it's in the Bible where he says he's going to come to you, right? You need to, my advice, when someone comes up to you, someone is in need, you see somebody hurting, you don't know if that's an angel. You don't know if that's God in the flesh. You don't know what it is, right? And you should always be humble and respectful whenever you're dealing with people. The third angel, and this is, I was clowning and I said, hey, they're racially balanced because the first one was white, the second one was Mexican, the third one was a black dude. And I'll tell the story again. I just told it the other day. But I went to the Burbank airport and I'm waiting for my flight. And it was the day where it was extremely windy. I was flying out to Vegas. It was extremely windy, right? And so the flight kept getting delayed. And so I had to go charge my phone and, I went to the restaurant. But everywhere I went, I noticed this really big black man. And he had a hood over his head, a black hood. No carry-on bag, no luggage, nothing. Just him. And everywhere I went, there he was. And I'm noticing it, because like I say, I'm always paying attention who's around, what's around, where am I at. So then I get on the plane. I had initially had a plane, my seat was in the third row. When I tried to board, they said, your ticket's not reading. Can you go to the desk and get a new one? So I stepped to the side, went over there, and they printed me out a new one, and they put me in the 30th row. I went from the 3rd to the 30th. And they actually gave me a window seat. So when I get there, there's two paisas, two little women, and one sitting on my seat, the other one sitting in the middle. And so I only have the aisle seat, right? I'm not going to haggle with these women. So I see them and I sit down on the aisle seat. And one of the women, she had her arm in a sling and she was like, I just had surgery. Can you please not bump my arm? And I was like, yeah. And then she's like, by the way, I don't think that's your seat. But with an attitude, right? And so I was like, well, it's not my seat. I said, your friend is sitting in my seat, but it's okay. I'll sit here. And she said, no, we bought that seat though. I said, maybe you did. She goes, no, I bought it for my niece. I said, yeah, but your friend is sitting in my seat. So, if she wants to trade with me, we could do that. Otherwise, I'm fine with sitting here. So that, oh, no, it's fine. Well, we had tried boarding earlier. They had boarded the flight and then, told everybody to get off because of the wind. We're not going anywhere. And I met this couple. It was a husband, wife, son, and daughter. They were all from London. So anyways, when I got moved to that seat and I settled the thing, the dispute with the paisas right there over the seat, next to me on the other side of the aisle was the wife from the family from London. It was the wife, right? She's sitting there and then I said, hi. I'm sitting there ready to, take off. Let's do this. The last person to enter the plane was the large black man. And he walks straight to where I'm sitting and looks to the right. And he tells the wife from London, excuse me, but that's my seat. And she says, okay. And she gets up and gets in the seat. So she knew she was sitting in the wrong seat, but she wanted to sit with her husband and her family. And when the guy said that, she knew so she just got up and got in the aisle behind her, right? He sits down and he gets comfortable in his seat and he just does this. He puts his head down, right? He didn't lift his damn head until we hit turbulence. And when I tell you we hit turbulence, it was like a damn roller coaster. My first experience with turbulence. And I talked about it in the video I did. I had fun. But it was scary. It was very scary. And people started screaming. And that's when he lifted his head up and he looked at me with a big smile and he said, people always want to talk to him at the wrong time. He's talking about God. He knew that everybody was praying. When that turbulence hit, everybody was praying. And he was saying, I knew immediately what he was saying is they should talk to him all the time, not just when they meet him. And I knew there was another one where more turbulence hit, and I actually got nervous on that one. And he again lifted his head and he looked at me and he smiled and he said, "You're going to be all right." And he put his head back down. And I knew immediately, I said, this is an angel right here. People could say I'm crazy, say what you want, man, but I believe in that. And I believe that every one of us has come in contact with them and will continue to do so. We don't know why, we don't know when, but that's why you need to treat everyone with kindness, because they're not going to be disrespectful. It's for a reason. We don't know what. Maybe after we die, we get reminded of those interactions. Remember when I sent whatever their names are to you and you were kind to them? Or remember when I sent so-and-so to you and you were rude to them? Imagine that. Imagine being at the pearly gates and they're running their investigation and you got some explaining to do. The worst place to have to do that, right? So anyways, that's my video for the day. It's the day after Thanksgiving. I feel like this is a good time for this type of video. I was gonna record this and release it yesterday, but I said, you know what? Everybody's having a good time with family, and instead I went live, and surprisingly, almost 200 of you guys took your time out from your family, from your beer, from your turkey, from your football games, and you spent an hour with me, and I appreciate that, man. My family appreciates that. We very much appreciate the support. Speaking of support, can you guys do me a favor and go to Food and Fallons? Show support there. We have more stuff coming. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them.